All right, guys. Here we go.
From Atlanta. You have a question, my man?
Did you have one, or did I put you on the spot?
No, I'm good.
Anyone else who directs in a tux gets the next question.
So what is your plan to put this team in winning situations this year?
Well, you know what? I'm proud of the people that we have on this team, on and off the field. You know, obviously, the end of the season didn't go the way we wanted to, but at the same time, you know, making the playoffs 6 of the last 7 years, being in 2 of the last 6 Super Bowls, I feel like we've developed some sort of winning culture. Now we got to add to that, and I think we got a lot of work to do. You know, I'm a little bit excited about kind of aggressively going after some future players that we did to start this off and bringing back at least one of our guys. So it's a good start, but we got a lot of work to do, and I'm excited to do it with the people that we get the opportunity to do it.
Howie, can you give us an update on Hassan Reddick? Where are things with Hassan? There was a report he was allowed to seek a trade. Do you expect him to be back next year?
Well, I'd say this: Hassan, obviously, unbelievable player for the Philadelphia Eagles. Local kid, great success story. Camden, Temple, Philly. Love having Hassan. I think that, you know, anything that you're trying to do, you're trying to blend, obviously, what you're trying to do this year and how you're going to look in the future. And I think that's the hardest job. But certainly, you know, don't want to get into any specifics with any conversations with players, but have tremendous respect for the player and the person.
With him, what's the best case scenario?
I think honest communication is the best case scenario with all your players, and understanding where you stand and not being afraid to have open doors of communication and hearing where they feel and where we feel. He had the initial conversation.
From Atlanta. You remember the first time you ever met Kirby, your initial reaction visiting with him, and what makes he and his coaching staff so successful in preparing their guys for the league?
Yeah, well, I think when you talk about Kirby and you talk about the experiences he had that led him to Georgia, I mean, phenomenal experiences, history of winning, and then he's got a culture down there, working and mentality, and obviously that travels on both sides of the ball. And you watch our defensive guys, and they're prepared to work. You know, they're not looking for any half ways of doing things. They're looking to work hard and to win and compete, and that's because of the culture he set.
How much does this affect your plans when it comes to the draft and the offseason? You feel like you have to start looking more ahead rushing now because of the uncertainty there?
Yeah, I'd say it's obviously, you know, it's always a position that we're evaluating, we're looking at. So I don't think that anything's changed in terms of that. You know, it's our job to make sure we're prepared for any eventuality at any position. And you do that by preparing for the draft process, which this is a great part of that, is getting more information and information gathering, knowing what's out there in free agency, and knowing where your players are.
How can you take advantage of the salary cap increase? How do you take advantage of that?
Well, just the way you take advantage of anything, you just bring in a lot of good people. You know, I think that's the key, is for us to bring in good people overall, to try to keep those guys in Philadelphia, to sign them to extension and build a culture of guys who it's important for them. The team's important, the city's important for them, and I think we got a good start on that.
How much does it change?
You said you don't want to overreact to an aberration. As you analyze it, do you view the last few weeks as an aberration?
You know, I don't know that I think about it other than how do we improve? You know, how do we get better as quickly as we can? How do we put our resources in the right position? How do we make good decisions after good decisions? Certainly we weren't good enough. You know, I think that luckily we've gotten to a point here where, you know, the standard is trying to compete for world championships. And so if a season ends, whether it's this year, which was disappointing, or last year, which was disappointing, that's really what we're trying to do. So I think it's clear to me that we weren't good enough to do that this year. And so I got to do whatever I possibly can to do better. And I got to look at it with open eyes and think about, you know, what things that I can do to help the team do better next year.
Howie, what's your biggest deterrent when evaluating the quarterbacks? What are some of the things that you don't want to see? Could be off field or even on like their play.
Are you talking about just in general about quarterbacks?
Yeah. When you're doing the evaluation process, what are some of the scary things that you don't?
Yeah, I think just look at our starting quarterback and the traits that he has. You know, unbelievable work ethic, unbelievable physical talents. Desire to be coached, a desire to learn. You know, off the field, all he wants to do is work and be with family and friends. And so I think it's a lot of the things that you'd look for, in any leader, in any organization, to have these kind of traits. And obviously there are physical parts of that go with accuracy and anticipation and being able to extend plays and being able to make every throw.
You've had the luxury in recent years of not needing your rookies to play a ton right away, but are there ways in which that sort of complicates the self-scouting, self-evaluation process?
I think when we look back, and Coach and I talk about it a little bit, it's okay to play some young players. It's okay for them to get experience and kind of see what you have. Based on where some of our guys were, they had the ability to sit back and learn a little bit because of the situations that we were in. I think going forward, it's going to be harder to do that. Obviously, just as you look at our team and who is making a lot of money, and we had a little bit of extra picks over the last couple of years. So I think that for us to play our young players, to develop them, I think that's something that Coach and I have talked about, to not be afraid of. That's why you draft them. That's why you sign them. And so you have that, and you'll have a depth chart where they'll be a little bit uncomfortable about, this guy necessarily hasn't shown it, but we believe in this player. And so I think that'll be an area for us to kind of maybe grow on. And I don't want to say improve, because we had good players at those positions, but that's exciting, I think, in a lot of ways.
Howie, when it comes to the cap,
I'll come.
When you look at upgrading defense, like what's your top priority as a team and your biggest offseason need there?
Yeah, I think that, again, I think going back to the question, I think you want to improve every area, every layer of your team. Certainly, I think when we look back at last offseason, we made a conscious decision to kind of put a little bit more resources onto the offensive side, knew that we'd lose some good players on defense. I think looking back, certainly missed some of those guys. That starts with me and making those decisions. And so I don't think there's an area that, we wouldn't, be open to addressing. Now, if you look at our defense and you're just kind of honest with it, well, we have a lot of young players at defensive tackle, right? So is that as big a priority as other areas, just being honest? Probably not. But that's also an important position. So we're also not going to be in a position where we're going to turn down a guy because the resources are already there because we believe in the D-line so much.
Howie, when you look at
I'm gonna come, I promise.
What do you think of the job that Shane Steichen did in his first year in Indianapolis? And if, so far, any areas of growth from...
Are you a Colts writer?
Yes.
Okay, that gives me perspective. It's funny because last year at the Combine, Shane's room was on the same floor as mine, and like 3 times I was trying to see him. I hadn't seen him since the Super Bowl. And he texted me, he's like, I got something for you. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, this guy's going to give me a great present. He's so happy of the players we got him. He's got this head coaching job and head coaching money. And so, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, is he getting me a watch? Is he getting me freaking sneakers? All the things I like. And he's like, bro, I have this green sport jacket. I'm like, we have nothing similar in terms of body types, you and I, bro. I can't even wear this. So I actually just gave it to Nick. So, which probably different body types too. So I think that, Shane has this savant-like approach to football. He's all ball all the time. Any conversation you want to talk to him about football, about players, he's there. If you want to talk to him about current events, he'll kind of give you that, what? But I think that's what makes him such a great coach, is because he's always working on things. He's got tremendous confidence in his knowledge and his ability, and I certainly think the Colts are lucky to have him. I'm gonna come, I promise.
How do you view Nolan Smith heading into
I think that goes back to the point about some younger players and kind of in retrospect, just seeing him certainly in the playoff game, one of the guys who played well in the playoff game, maybe giving him a little bit more time during the year and experience. We talked about that. He's got all the right tools in his body. He's got the right mentality. And at the same time, he's got to go out and show it. I'm coming. Boom, boom.
When you look at the salary cap increase, how does it change the way you can approach this offseason?
Well, I think you still got to be cognizant of how you want to build a team. I think you still got to be aware of guys coming up for contracts that you want to keep, that you don't anticipate losing. And I think it also gives you some flexibility to not force things, to have the ability to walk away from a deal and understand that may come about at another time. So I don't think you want, it's still the same amount of money. It's like, if you win $5, it's still your $5. You don't want to just throw that $5 out pretend like it's not yours. So this is our salary cap money. We got to make sure that we're still making good decisions with it, because at the end of the day, as we go forward, we do have a lot of guys making a lot of money.
With the running back market, given the available backs and
Yeah, I think that there are talented players on the free agent market. Obviously we got a couple guys there from our team that are going to be free agents, and I think that at the end of the day, talented players end up getting paid. And it's just, I think, where I'm getting a little distracted by the freaking. Is Dom doing the security? Are you doing John Lynch's security right now, Dom? They left. So I think everyone will kind of have a value on players just like any other position, and obviously those guys handle the ball a lot, and they're important players.
Given Vic's experience as a defensive coordinator, does he get more sway when it comes to personnel?
I'm sure he thinks that. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously tremendous respect for Vic. Know him for a long time, and he's had tremendous success. And I think when we talk about how we build a team overall, obviously that's something that's important to us. But by the same token, knowing what the coordinator is important to the coordinator and the system so that it can be successful is important as well.
How big of a priority is the
Well, Devontae's an incredible person, an incredible player, obviously homegrown, young guy. Without getting into specifics, those aren't guys that you really want to leave.
What's your understanding of the future for Kelsey and Fletcher?
Obviously, those guys, unbelievable players, unbelievable people, and they deserve the right to decide what's best for them. And, we'll wait and give them whatever time and space they need to make the right decisions. And I think the important thing from our perspective is you'd never want to see them wearing different colors. And I think for us, no matter when that is, if they want the opportunity to come back, we'd want to have the opportunity to bring them back.
Bradbury's under contract for $9 million guaranteed. He played some slot last year. Do you guys view him more as a slot as he gets older, or still an outside guy?
I think he's an outside guy. I think when you look at the skill set there, I think that that was one of the positions that as we got into the summer, we kind of knew we needed some depth there. We gave some guys opportunities to do it. I got to do a better job of bringing in more guys to be able to play that position. I think that's one area that kind of you felt like in August maybe we needed to add, so we tried some guys. But when you look at JB and his history and his success as an outside corner, to ask him to do something, which is really a different position, is hard.
And he remains part of your plans?
Yeah, he's under contract, part of our plans.
All right.